Wake up in the morning. Wake up, Atlanta. It's time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yes, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy howdy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coffee Talk presented and powered and presented by Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy howdy, welcome back to another exciting radio show here today. This is, of course, Coffee Talk. It is Tuesday. It is a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And let me tell y'all something. First and foremost, we're glad that y'all here. Thank y'all for staying tuned. You guys liked the two episodes we did last week. And of course, the newest episode of What Had Happened Was is out and available that came out yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we hope that y'all like that episode. Of course, me and E, we talked about Magic City and the Atlanta Hawks game going against Orlando Magic. Of course, we had to keep updating it because they did cancel it by the time we recorded that episode. So I'm very, very thankful for that, guys. Stay tuned for new episodes of me and Evelyn. What had happened was coming very, very soon, by the way. You just got to wait for it. But when it comes, it will be on its way. We hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic, fantastic Tuesday. Let me tell y'all, here in Atlanta, we had some weird, weird, weird weather. We did. I woke up, it was a little bit hot outside, then it got cold, and then it was raining, and then it started hailing, and then it started to flurry a little bit. It got really, really cold. And on my way from the offices to the gym, a major traffic light was out, so that caused traffic. Then I had a rush boom by in the gym, which was very interesting. Yesterday was a very interesting day when it came down to the weather. Everybody, I can't even explain it. Hope and audience, I just can't explain it. It was just really interesting weather where we had flurries and hail and sunshine and rain and cold all in one day. It is weird. It's the weird thing. I know a lot of my colleagues say, "Yay, don't rely so much on March being, just sunshines and rainbows." But now, when it does have sunshines, because we had sunshine this past weekend, it was gorgeous out. Nice weather, nice, about 70 degrees. I ended up, of course, going to the gym on Saturday, and then ended up going to every Saturday. I like to do what I call reset, refocus, recharge, let go. And basically, what it is after the gym, I go to that local park that's around that area, and then I walk around about 3 miles or so. And when I'm able to walk around my 3 miles, I get it in. I have a great time, and it's just one of those things that I just really do. I encourage a lot of people to do that because it just allows you to, it allows you to reset, recharge, refocus, rethink. This week we have a great week for podcasting for you guys. We've got two shows of Coffee Talk, and then we got What Had Happened Was, it came out yesterday, and of course the Lucas Tribune podcast is coming. One big question is coming. This week is going to be kind of a hectic week because we've got a lot of things planned for media wise and technical wise. There's a big event that I've got to do. I got to do a technical run on Friday. Well, Thursday starts Thursday and then Friday. So it's going to be very, very hectic the end of the week. So I do say to everybody, thank y'all so very much. We put together this show, and with the new set that we premiered last episode, last two episodes rather. We thank you guys for the feedback. Everybody loved it, hope, and a lot of people are getting into it. Where everybody's staying tuned to it, so I just get very, very excited when it comes down to it. But March is here, spring is here, pollen's here, snow and flurries is here for some weird reason. So I say to a lot of people, anticipate the weather. We just have a lot of craziness that goes on when it comes down to this weather. But we are excited for Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Of course, we've got Hope, I've got Rachel and Sarah, and Marcus is here too to give his gaming news as well. So we got a pack show for y'all. So I have quite a few reviews that I want to do for you guys as well. I don't have a game review necessarily because there hasn't been any new games out there for me to play, but okay, this is the funny part, the fun part of the show. Um, I like my animations. I like my Pixar. I like my Disney. I know I'm 29, getting ready to be 30. I say to a lot of people, you are never too old to like a Disney movie. You're never too old. I like Disney movies because obviously, if you guys know, you know, I am an animator myself. I posted it on social media a few days ago that I am working on Guardians. We shared the character of Shirai. A lot of people have been loving our response. Um, I'm really, really excited for that movie, and not trying to because I'm gonna talk about Zootopia too, right? But Guardians is looking really, really good. I'm not just saying that because it's my movie. I finally, and I think I might have said this open audience to, and also to Evelyn on our show, that I'm starting to get my spark back. I'm starting to feel more inclined to do movies, and I get very excited when I'm able to put something together. I'm really, really excited about Guardians because it's something new. It allowed me to be more expressive. I've learned a lot more of animating and trying to animate to the great scale of things. So I thank everybody for the feedback, like when we post on social media, me in the studio and animating a scene, and just I don't know, it just allowed me to get more creative. And I that's really what I did throughout the spring break last week, besides working my technical work or K.L.P entertainment and podcasting, because a lot of people asked me what I did last week. Hopefully everybody's returning safely and sound from vacation. My vacation doesn't really start until May, right? I'm going to Mexico in May as my birthday trip, so that's why we're going hard right now, and I'm just very, very excited for that. But I like my animated movies because I dabble into it. I have fun doing it. And I was at the gym and I was leaving. I was scrolling through and I saw the advertisement that Zootopia 2 is now available on Disney Plus. Now, of course, I was like, oh, I'm about to go get me something to eat. And that is the movie that I'm going to watch. I like Zootopia 1, right? Zootopia 1 was very good. It was a very unique story. Basically, what the movie's about Zootopia, of course, you've got Judy Hobbs and Nick Wilde. I forgot who plays Judy Hall. Jennifer, I forgot her last name, but Jason Bateman plays Nick Wilde. And basically, the bunny, Judy Hobbs, gets moved to Zootopia because she wants to be a police officer, right? And she meets a criminal of Nick Wilde, and then they try to expose each other. And she's trying to prove a case that everybody's trying to um, the I guess the lion that was the mayor, he was kind of scolded because he didn't treat Zootopia right, and then he ended up going to jail. And then the sheep came in, and the sheep came in. They were afraid of wild animals like Nick Wild because Nick Wild's a fox, and they eat sheep and whatever. So that's basically the premise of Zootopia 1. I know I kind of bashed over that one. So Zootopia 2 is out on Disney Plus, and I look, I like it. I like my Disney movies. They got it. It's kooky, it's funny. So basically, in Zootopia 2, Judy Hobbs and Nick Wilde, they're now police officers based off saving Zootopia in the first movie. And basically, what's going on in Zootopia 2, there is a new mayor. There's a horse. The new mayor is a horse, and it's played by Patrick Wahlberg. So his voicing is so funny in that movie. So he goes into it, and then there's these little cats, wild cats, that are just the family dynasty, the family legacy that they built the weather stations for Zootopia. And basically, what the weather stations are, let's say, if the list of polar bears and penguins, they are naturally in cold environment, and then you've got your reptiles that like warm environments. But before that, they didn't have the weather control walls for Zootopia, and everybody, like the polar bears was in a hot environment, they were hot, and then like the reptiles, they like warm weather, but they were getting too cold. So what's believed that the Wildcat family, they built the weather wall so that way it separates different environments for the animals all in one in Zootopia. Turns out that's not the case. Um, there's this snake called Gary the Snake. His great grandmother found and built the foundation control environment walls, but then the Wildcats took over and they burnt down or they froze over the town where the reptiles stay, the snakes stay, and they froze it over for cooler temperatures because the Wildcats didn't like the snakes, right? And that's why the snakes are very at the beginning of the movie of Zootopia 2, they were very kind of scary for Zootopia because they got fangs with poison in them. I agree with it because I'm afraid of snakes in real life. I am so terrified of snakes. If you have a snake right in front of me, I'm running like a little girl. I am going to run out the way because I do not do snakes. I'm scared of them. That is a phobia of mine. Scared shitless of snakes. So people in Zootopia, they're scared of snakes, but then Gary the snake was hopped into Zootopia to find the truth and to relieve the truth. Like, hey, these wildcats didn't uh, they didn't invent the weather control walls. My great grandmother did, and then they stole it, right? They stole the patent, and of course, Judy Hobbs and Nick Wilde, they have to prove that there's a case there. There is the patent's there and a lot of things are going on, and then they have to find that patent and prove to Zootopia people that, hey, this patent was actually invented by the snake family, right? So very very cute movie. Nick and Judy, they got they, I don't want to say they have a love interest there, but they care about each other. That end scene where both of them express how they really feel about each other and their true feelings. And like Nick Wilde was like, "Hey, I'm very insecure, but I hide my insecurity because I care about you." That's not really how Nick Wilde character did, but like they expressed themselves. And Judy Hopps says, "Hey, I'm trying to prove to everybody that I'm the best, but deep down, I really ain't shit." That's basically that NC was just. It was very impactful, great writing because I think a lot of people it's kind of like a symbol, right? Because you would think that a lot of people would want to be more, they will want to be more truth about themselves. And it's all about therapy too. Like Nick Wilde, Jason Bateman's character, Nick Wilde, he's saying, "Hey, I'm saying saving that for my therapist animal, right? He's going to therapy to Max, and the reason why he's doing all these things, he acts so cool because he never been part of a pack because he was abused as a young fox, right? Quote unquote. So that's why he plays it nonchalant. That's why he just doesn't take he has to joke about everything because it makes him when Nick feels uncomfortable, he has to joke. And I'm kind of like that too. When I feel very uncomfortable about something, I'm gonna joke about it, right? Because it's just you gotta laugh through the embarrassment, you gotta laugh through the nervousness that I am. So I'm gonna crack a joke because I'm nervous, right? Very good writing. I think a lot of people should be able to open up about themselves a little bit more when it comes down to it. Zootopia 2, I get it. I get why it made almost $1 billion, if not $1 billion. I get why it was a hot commodity when it came out for theaters. They did leave a cliffhanger at the end of the movie for Zootopia 3. Duh. I know they're gonna do a 3 because 2 was just such a success, and even 1 was a great success too. Um, Shakira, I didn't really like the Zoo song. I think I like Try Everything. Try Everything was the theme song for Zootopia 1, sung by Shakira. Zoo was just like, okay, it's easier for her to sing, right? It's just kind of yeah, it's basic. Like it's very predictable. Try Everything had the harmonies, it had the chorus, it had a lyric flow to it. Um so I hope Zootopia 3, if they pull Shakira back for a theme song for 3, I'm sure. I mean, why not? I just hope it's better than Zoo. I'm just not a big fan of Zoo. I think Try Everything is better. But Zootopia 2 available now on Disney Plus. I know that was kind of a quickie when it came down to my review. But it's a funny movie. It's a very, very, very funny movie. Um, like I said, I dabble into it. I dabble into my Disney movies. That's just one of those things that I get into it. Later on within the week, though, with Coffee Talk with presented by Spotify, I am going to watch older movies so I can review it for you guys because you guys like the segment. I didn't watch an old movie this past weekend because I was watching Zootopia 2 and I was playing video games along with resting, so I didn't have a chance to. But very, very excited for that. So the Oscars, let's talk about it real quick. The Oscars was this past weekend, and I just got to say, from the bottom of my heart to a lot of people out there, I've got to send a congratulations to Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan for the outstanding wins. I think Sinners Sinners had a great night. And I think I potted about this. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, they came a long way, right? They worked together on this movie called Fruitvale Station in 2013. And now they're coming back together in 2015 for Creed. And now they did Black Panther together, right? And now fast forward, now they won Oscars for Sinners. I'm very, very excited for Sinners because, you know, Michael B. Jordan has worked really, really hard for his acting. He has. He has been a beacon of hope for us all when it comes down to his acting. Michael B. Jordan is just a great actor. I think he has a wide range of acting, whether it's an action movie, down to a love movie, down to a fighting movie. Sinners, and me and Evelyn reviewed Sinners. Sinners is just symbolic, right? I'm really happy about it because this is Michael B. Jordan's first win. And he won for lead actor in a movie, in a cinematic movie. And Ryan Coogler won for best screenplay. Gives me hope. It really does give me hope. Despite what people think about the Oscars, because I know a lot of people think about differently about the Oscars. I know Samuel L. Jackson has, well, along with other black actors and actresses, they spoke out about the Oscars, and Samuel L. Jackson said, "Hey, being nominated for an Oscar is not really an accomplishment in his eyes because of back when he was running for Oscars. There was a lot of scrutiny, and I'm not going to sit here and say that Oscars." Back then didn't have scrutiny for us in our black community. I won't say that because they did. But I think the Oscars are finally figuring something out. I feel like they're trying to right the wrongs, right? Because in the black community, we make good movies. Sinners is a good movie. It really is a very, very good movie. It's symbolic, it's storytelling. The music is amazing, right? We did see Raphael Sadiq perform I Lied to You at the Oscars. That's a huge accomplishment. I'm really, really excited for Michael B. Jordan as a director because, those along with him and Spike Lee and Sidney Poitier, I look for those uh, directors, right? I can kind of see, I can kind of put Tyler Perry in there, kind of. You guys know how I feel about Tyler Perry. I feel like Tyler Perry is a good director when he makes good movies, right? The Medea movies, when Tyler Perry really sits down and make good movies, he make good movies. I'm not gonna lie, but I look for Spike Lee and Ryan Coogler because those are beacons, right? Those are beacons of hope for us black directors. If you guys know, I have quite a few movies out, you know, expiring to tell the story and expiring to write a good screenplay, and it just worked really, really well. It gets me going, right? So I'm very, very happy about Ryan Coogler, his win. I think he has many, many more movies to go. And winning all these awards as a black director, not just a black director, it could be a white director, Hispanic director, but winning awards as a director, to me, you can find more work, right? Obviously, he's working on the next Black Panther movie, right? But Ryan Coogler, he's not going to stop at Sinners. He's doing Black Panther 3. He might write something else that might be very innovative. And he's just a good director, right? I would love to work with Ryan Coogler one day. And hopefully I'm manifesting, hopefully it comes true. Michael B. Jordan. And I did say this in the last episode too. If because I tweeted with my friends too, I said, "Hey, if sinners don't win an Oscar, we're going to riot." And Oscars say, "Hey, they might riot if they're not going to win." So let's go ahead and make sure that they win. Of course, with the Academy Awards, there's a lot of voting processes. It's a process, but it is very, very exciting to say that they won their Oscars. Look with Gracian, he won for best original score for Sinners. It's always good for composer because you guys know I'm a composer too. Um, I was hoping that Delroy would win. Delroy Lindo would win for best supporting actor. It's not to say that Sean Penn didn't do good in once. Uh, um, what's that movie called? The Battle One Battle After Another. I had to remember what the name of the movie was with Leo DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor. It's not to say that Sean Penn didn't do good in that movie because he did. I just think Delroy Lindo, he did a little bit better in Sinners as a supporting actor. That's just my hot take. But I think Delroy's like, okay, well, I've won in NAACP, BET Awards, BAFTA Awards, Image Awards, Emmy, so they won some awards. I just kind of wanted to see Delroy win that Oscar, but I'm sure he's got more gas in the tank. I'm sure he got some more acting roles coming up, and it solidifies when your movie wins Oscars, you're going to be solidified for work because now Michael B. Jordan has Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan. Academy Award winning director, Ryan Coogler, right? That's a title. That title goes a long way. Um, But one better after another. Leo's new movie for Apple TV, they won for Best Picture. Rightfully so. Like I say, that movie was good too. I'm not gonna knock the Leo and Leo and Tiana Taylor's movie. That movie was pretty good. It was really really good. But I catered more to Sinners. So again, congratulations to Sinners for their great award. It's a great accomplishment, and I look forward to it. I'm really happy about it. I'm really really stoked about it, and it's just gonna be really really good to see movies be at the very very best. So coming up next on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify, hope and everybody have their stories. I'll be back to end the show here tonight. If you're watching early access on LinkedIn and Instagram Live, we thank y'all in advance. And of course, if you're tuning in for audio platforms later, 8 a.m. the next morning, we thank y'all. So turn it over to Hope right now for front page news. Take it away, Hope.
Wake up, y'all!
It is now time for the front page news of the day on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify.
Yeah!
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kennedy. This is the front page news on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify, and we welcome David as a co-host to the show. Okay, David, so here's something wild. Hip-hop is officially the most streamed genre in the world. It's not just dominating the charts. It's shaping culture on a global scale.
That's incredible, but honestly, not surprising. Hip-hop has been this cultural powerhouse for decades now. It's not just music, it's a whole movement that's influencing everything from fashion to politics.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how platforms like Hot New Hip Hop are keeping that momentum going. They're not just reporting on the music, they're diving into the stories, the gossip, the trends, everything that makes hip hop what it is.
Right? And they're giving fans this direct line to the culture. It's not just about the big names either. They're spotlighting up-and-coming artists, the ones who are shaping the future of the genre. That's so important in a space that thrives on innovation.
Totally. And hip hop is all about storytelling, right? It's about giving a voice to experiences that don't always get heard. That's why it resonates with so many people, no matter where they're from.
And it's not just the lyrics, the beats, the production, the visuals, it's all part of the story. You've got producers like Metro Boomin and Pharrell creating these iconic sounds that are just as important as the words.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's the fashion, the slang, the way hip hop influences how we talk and dress. It's not just a genre, it's a lifestyle. And it's amazing to see how it's evolved over the years.
Yeah, like how it started in the Bronx as this underground movement, and now it's this global phenomenon. You've got artists from all over the world putting their own spin on it, bringing their own cultures into the mix.
And that's what makes it so exciting. It's always changing, always pushing boundaries. You've got someone like Kendrick Lamar, who's so introspective and poetic. And then there's Megan Thee Stallion, who's all about empowerment and confidence. It's such a wide spectrum.
And then there are the legends, the ones who paved the way. Tupac, Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, their influence is still everywhere. You can hear it in the music, see it in the way artists approach their careers. It's like they set the blueprint.
Exactly. And their music is timeless. You can listen to a Tupac track from the 90s and it still feels relevant today. That's the power of great storytelling. It never goes out of style.
And the new generation is building on that legacy. Artists like J. Cole and Drake are taking what came before and making it their own. They're evolving the genre while still respecting its roots.
And then there's the technology side of it. Social media, streaming platforms, they've completely changed the game. Artists can connect with their fans directly, share their music instantly. It's like the barriers between the artists and the fans are gone.
And that's where platforms like Hot New Hip Hop come in. They're not just reporting on what's happening, they're part of the culture. They're shaping the conversation, giving fans a way to stay connected.
Exactly. And that's what makes hip hop so powerful. It's not just music, it's a movement, it's a way of life, and it's amazing to see how it continues to grow and evolve.
Couldn't agree more. Hip-hop is here to stay, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Turn it up. They shoot. They score. Top of the hour sports talk on Coffee Talk. presented by Spotify.
We back.
We don't give a fuck.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. Okay, so here's something wild. Did you know that the NCAA tournament generates over $1 billion in revenue each year? And yet, what we all really care about are the stories, the players, the teams, and those unforgettable moments that make March Madness so special.
That's exactly it. The money and the spectacle are huge, but the heart of it all is the drama. This year's tournament is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory. The one seeds alone, Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida, are packed with talent and intrigue.
Right, and each of those teams has such a unique story. Duke, for example, is sitting at 32-2, and they've got Cameron Boozer, who's basically the front runner for National Player of the Year. But then there's the question of injuries. Caleb Foster's absence could really shake things up for them.
That's a big concern. Duke always seems to thrive under pressure, but losing a key player like Foster can disrupt even the best teams. And then there's Arizona, another 32-2 team with Jaden Bradley and Braden Burries leading the charge. They haven't won a national title since 1997, so you know they're coming in with something to prove.
Arizona's depth is impressive, but Michigan might be the most fascinating one seed this year. They're 31-3, and Yaxel Lenderbor has been an absolute force for them. Their size and talent make them a serious contender for the championship. It feels like they've got all the pieces they need to go all the way.
Totally. And then there's Florida, which is kind of the wild card among the one seeds. They're 26-7, and they had to rally after losing their starting backcourt earlier in the season. Thomas Ha has stepped up in a big way, but I wonder if they'll have the consistency to keep up with the other top seeds.
That's a fair point. Florida's resilience has been impressive, but the tournament is such a grueling test. You can't afford to have an off night, especially as a one seed. But let's not forget about the two seeds. UConn, Purdue, Iowa State, and Houston each bring something unique to the table.
UConn is fascinating. They're 29-5 and looking for their third title in 4 years under Dan Hurley. That kind of recent success can be a huge advantage in terms of confidence and experience. Plus, their defense is rock solid, which is always a key factor in the tournament.
Exactly, and then there's Purdue. They've had a bit of a late season slump, but their offense, led by Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, is so potent. If they can find their rhythm again, they could be a real threat.
Iowa State is another team that intrigues me. They're so balanced, with a strong defense and a talented trio in Milan Momcilovic, Tamin Lipsy, and another standout player. At 27-7, they seem like the kind of team that could make a deep run if everything clicks.
And then there's Houston. They're 28-6 and coming off last year's title game appearance. Kingston Flemings, their standout freshman, has been incredible. They've got that mix of experience and young talent that can be so dangerous in the tournament.
It's interesting to see how the two seeds stack up against the one seeds. I feel like any of those two seeds could easily make it to the Final Four depending on how the matchups shake out. But let's move on to the three seeds because there's a lot to talk about there too.
Definitely. Michigan State, Gonzaga, Virginia, and Illinois. Michigan State is known for their toughness and defense, and they've got multiple players averaging in double figures. They're 25-7 and always seem to bring their best in March.
Gonzaga is another team that's always in the mix. They're 30-3 this season, and despite some injury setbacks, their defense has been elite. They've got that combination of talent and coaching that makes them a perennial contender.
Virginia is an interesting case. They're 29-5 and have adapted their play style under new coach Ryan Odom. They finished strong in the regular season, and I think their ability to adjust could serve them well in the tournament.
And then there's Illinois. They're 24-8, and Keaton Wagler has been a key player for them. They've got the best offense in the country, which is a huge advantage, but I wonder how they'll hold up against some of the tougher defensive teams.
That's always the question with offensive powerhouses. Can they maintain that level of production against elite defences? But let's not forget about the 4 seeds. Kansas, Arkansas, Alabama and Nebraska all have compelling stories heading into the tournament.
Kansas is such an enigma this year. They're 23-10 and have struggled with injuries and chemistry issues, but when they're healthy, their defense is so strong. They're a team that could either flame out early or make a surprising run.
Arkansas is another team to watch. They're 26-8 and Darius Acuff Jr. has had a standout season. They're a high-scoring team, which makes them dangerous, but I wonder if they have the defensive chops to go deep.
Alabama is kind of the opposite. They're 23-9 and led the nation in scoring, but their defense has been a challenge. It's hard to win in the tournament without a solid defense, so that's something to keep an eye on.
And Nebraska is a bit of a surprise as a 4 seed. They're 26-6 and have a strong defense, plus some key wins over top teams. They're the kind of team that could pull off an upset or two.
The 4 seeds are always interesting because they're right on the cusp of being elite, but they often have just enough flaws to make them vulnerable. It's such a delicate balance.
Exactly, and as we go further down the seeds, the stories just get more and more compelling. The 5 through 10 seeds are where you really start to see those potential Cinderella stories emerge.
Absolutely. Teams like St. John's, Wisconsin, and Texas Tech have shown resilience and flashes of brilliance throughout the season. And then you've got teams like Vanderbilt and Louisville, who have dealt with injuries but still managed to put together strong seasons.
It's those mid-seeded teams that often create the most chaos in the bracket. They're just good enough to beat anyone on the right night, but they're also flawed enough to be vulnerable to an upset. It's what makes the tournament so unpredictable and exciting.
And we haven't even touched on the lower seeds yet. The 11 through 16 seeds are where you find those true underdog stories. Teams like Miami, Ohio, Howard, and Furman have had incredible seasons and are looking to make some noise in the tournament.
Those are the teams that make March Madness so special. When a 15 or 16 seed pulls off an upset, it's like the entire sports world stops for a moment. It's pure magic.
It really is. And this year's tournament feels like it has all the ingredients for another unforgettable March Madness. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Me neither. It's going to be a wild ride, and I'm here for every second of it.
Wake up! Get up! We starting the day!
Let's get into it. Our top story of the day on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify.
Turn it up! Let's go.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Entertainment Pulse. I'm Marcus Thompson. Today, we're diving headfirst into the high seas of critical acclaim, specifically for One Piece Season 2, subtitled Into the Grand Line. You might recall the collective sigh of relief and then outright joy when Netflix's live adaptation of the iconic manga defied expectations with its first season. Fans, myself included, were understandably wary of bringing such a fantastical, sprawling epic to live action. But with original manga author Eiichiro Oda's direct involvement, Season 1 soared, earning a certified fresh 86% on Rotten Tomatoes and a staggering 95% popcorn meter score from audiences. That set an incredibly high bar. Now, with the second season just around the corner, or for some already here, the early reviews are not just good, they're even more effusive, promising an adventure that's bigger, better, richer, and even more engaging than his freshman voyage. Critics are calling it a new high watermark for live-action anime adaptations, a testament to its charismatic cast, eye-popping action, and deep love for the source material. This season truly takes us into the Grand Line, and the critical consensus is overwhelmingly positive.
So, what exactly makes One Piece Season 2 an even greater success? Well, according to Allison Mattingly from Nerdist, this season is bigger, better, and more ambitious in almost every way. She highlights a significant leap in special effects, both in volume and quality, which is crucial for a series as visually imaginative as One Piece. Nick Valdez at comicbook.com echoes this sentiment, noting that the second season expands on everything that worked in the first, presenting bigger stakes, better connections between the characters, and bolder choices. It sounds like the production team didn't just rest on their laurels, they actively sought to elevate the experience. The reviews consistently praise how the show introduces a host of new characters without feeling cluttered, each addition contributing meaningfully to the narrative. This expansion isn't just about throwing more elements into the mix, it's about enriching the world and the journey of the Straw Hat Pirates. From the visuals to the narrative depth, Into the Grand Line seems to deliver a more refined and grander adventure, making good on the promise of its title and then some.
One of the perpetual challenges with adapting beloved source material, especially one as vast as One Piece, is striking the right balance between faithfulness and adaptation. Lanisha Campbell of But Why Though praises how Season 2 builds on the strong foundation of its predecessor while directly addressing these adaptation challenges. Instead of mimicking the manga's lengthy pacing, the show compresses some of its world building, allowing audiences to grasp characters and conflicts more cohesively. This strategic pacing ensures the narrative flows smoothly for a live-action series, without sacrificing the core essence. It's a bold move, and critics agree it pays off. Furthermore, a recurring theme in the reviews is the cast's incredible comfort and chemistry. Julian Lytle from Riotous specifically praises Inaki Godoy as Luffy, saying he brings all the exuberance, silliness, charm, and drive you want. David Opie from Games Radar Press observes that the nakama, or camaraderie, is stronger than ever, not just between the characters, but among the actors themselves. This deepened understanding of their roles and the world they're building is palpable, making the journey feel even more authentic and enjoyable.
Beyond the technical prowess and smart adaptation choices, what truly resonates in One Piece Season 2 is its unwavering spirit. David Caballero from Collider notes the show's ability to maintain the spirit of Eiichiro Oda's masterpiece, letting its freak flag fly and flaunting its colors with pride. It expands the world with deliriously fun characters, non-stop action, and an adventure filled with heart and hope, just as Luffy would want. Jonathan Wilson of Ready Steady Cut highlights the show's boldly, unashamedly bizarre nature with outlandish designs and strange powers that the season delights in showcasing. While most reviews are glowing, a few minor observations were made. Louis Glassbrook from Screen Rant felt that the expanded scope and character roster meant individual character arcs weren't quite as tightly written, and Elijah Gonzalez from AV Club suggested the fight sequences couldn't always match the escalating intensity of the source material's battle shonen brawls. However, these are minor caveats in a sea of praise for a show that is consistently described as goofy, knowingly strange, and deeply sentimental, putting plenty of wind in its sails for viewers.
Given the incredible buzz and critical success of One Piece Season 2, effective promotion is key. This brings us to the art of the radio ad, a unique challenge relying entirely on audio to capture attention. Imagine you're a marketing executive tasked with promoting Into the Grand Line. Here's an example of how you might craft that compelling radio spot. Tired of predictable tales? Prepare to set sail with One Piece Season 2 Into the Grand Line. The critically acclaimed live-action phenomenon is back, bigger, better, and bolder than ever. Experience eye-popping action, a charismatic cast that truly becomes the Straw Hats, and a world expanded with deliriously fun new characters. Worried about adaptations losing their way? Eiichiro Oda's vision guides every epic moment, delivering a faithful adventure packed with heart and unabashed wackiness. Don't miss the journey. All new episodes of One Piece Season 2 are streaming now, exclusively on Netflix. Join the Straw Hat crew. Go to Netflix.com or open your Netflix app today. That's Netflix.com for One Piece Season 2. Your grand adventure awaits. This ad effectively highlights the show's strengths and drives action. One Piece Season 2 has truly cemented its place as a triumph. For the Entertainment Pulse,
I'm Marcus Thompson.
Thank you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Coffee Talk, presented and powered by Spotify. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, stay tuned because we got another new episode tomorrow. So a lot of people, again, if you're watching Early Access tonight, we thank y'all in advance. And everybody that's catching the show 8 a.m. the next day, we thank y'all as well for all audio platforms you get your podcast from. We thank you guys. We thank Spotify for the partnership and the presented and powered by. And we'll see you guys in the next episode, being tomorrow, for Coffee Talk, presented and powered by Spotify. I've been your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Stay swanky. From peace, love, and respect from our entire cast and crew. Have a great day. Enjoy that great latte or mocha latte you got in your coffee. And then we'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, peace out.
We bring in good energy.
This has been Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. From our cast, we thank you for listening.
Yeah.